good day. I'm Cecil Sabroso, and now I'm going to report about the lesson 2, the job interview. So, the focus of this lesson is for learners to understand how to apply for a range of job vacancies, but they will only need to actually apply for one job to achieve the unit. Number 2, learners will gain an understanding of how and when different types of methods are used for applying for employment. And lastly, they will find out how to gather the relevant information to support a job application and will also look at the importance of presenting job application information in an appropriate and accurate way. Next, applying for a job. Before getting employed, we undergoes an application process, right? So the application process usually begins with a job advertisement that is made available through various forms such as newspaper advertisement, radio and television broadcast, social media posts, job placement offices in business, and educational institutions. So, before that, what is job advertisement? So, job advertisement is an announcement that informs people that a certain job position is available. So, it is written in an engaging tone and it contains um, information not only about the job positions, but also about your company and the benefits you offer. That is the job advertisement. So I have an example about the job advertisement words like part-time, full-time, shift work, experience needed, interview, CV, which means curriculum vitae or vitae, um, apply online. And the, there's a company, Southern University Hospital, full-time cleaner needed, 7.50 per hour, experience preferred, apply online, www.southernhospital.com, and job advertisement. Listen to a job advertisement and write down if the job is full-time or part-time, how much money you get per hour, the telephone number you should ring to apply for the job, the name of the person you should call or ring. That is the job advertisement. So next, to apply for a job, an applicant must carefully read the job advertisement to determine if the job description matches his or her own interests, needs, and qualifications. So, these are the requirements. Usually include an application form or letter, recommendation letters, school records, and other supporting documents. So, let's define what is application form or letter. A letter of application, also known as a cover letter, is a document sent with your resume to provide additional information about your skills and experience to an employer. So the letter of application is intended to provide detailed information on why you are qualified candidate for the job. That is the application letter. So I have an example here. The outline of application letter. So what to include in your cover letter or application letter? Um, As with all cover letters, a job application letter is divided into sections such as The heading, which includes your name and contact information, a greeting address to a specific person, the introduction, which should include why the applicant is writing, the body, which discusses your relevant qualifications, and the last one, the close, which thanks the reader and provides contact information and follow-up details. That is the application letter. And here's the complete example of application letter. Mm. So the next one will be the recommendation letter. So what is recommendation letter? A letter of recommendation is a formal document that validates someone's work, skills, or academic performance. You may be asked to prepare a recommendation letter for someone who is applying for a job, internship, college or university, leadership position, or volunteer opportunity. So, the purpose of a recommendation letter is to corroborate what you have learned about the applicant and provide additional positive details about their performance or habits. So, here's the recommendation letter format. The one will be introduction and statement of recommendation. It is the states who you are, your relationship to the applicant, and your personal experience or expertise. And number two, list of specific reasons you are recommending them to the position, or your an overview of the applicant's strengths as you have experienced them and as they relate to the recipient. And the third, personal story with evidence of their qualities, soft and hard skills. Um, a- or your a personal story that elaborates on 1 to 2 traits the applicant possesses. And the fourth one will be the closing statement with contact information. That is the summarizes why the individual you are recommending would be a good fit for the opportunity. And the last one will be the signature. That includes your name and contact information. So that is the recommendation letter. So, um, about the school records, when you are applying for jobs, an employer may request a copy of your high school, college, or graduate school transcript as a part of your job application. So, so now, how to prepare for a job interview? Practice interviewing, get your interview clothes ready, research the company, know what to bring, follow up with a thank you note. Hmm. So, the best ways to prepare for an interview. The first one will be analyze the job. So, analyze the job. An important part of interview preparation is to take the time to analyze the job posting. If you have it, as you review the job description, consider what the company is seeking in a candidate. Or you make a list of the skills, knowledge, and professional and personal qualities that are required by the employer and critical for success in the job. So the second will be make a match. So make a match. Once you have listed the qualifications for the job, make a list of your assets and match them to the job requirements. And create a list of up to 10 of your assets that match the job requirements. These might include skills, qualities, certifications, experience, professional qualifications, abilities, computer skills, and knowledge bases. You can bring up some of these assets when you explain to the employer why you are an excellent fit for the job. So, also, think of examples from past work experiences that show you have these qualities. And this way, if the interviewer asks you to describe a time when you demonstrated a particular skill, so you will be ready. So that is the make a match. And the third, research the company. So, research the company before you attend a job interview. It's important to find out as much as you can about not only the job, but also the company. Company research is a critical part of interview preparation. It will help you to prepare to answer interview questions about the company and to ask the interviewer questions about the company. You will also be able to find out whether the company and its culture are good fit for you. So that will be the research company. And the fourth one will be practice interviewing. Um, Take the time to practice answering interview questions you will probably be asked. This will also help calm your nerves because you won't be scrambling for an answer while in the interview hot seat, right? So, try to conduct the practice interview in the same format as the real interview. For example, it is the phone interview. Ask a friend to call you to practice answering questions over the phone. And also, if it is a panel interview, ask a couple of friends to pretend to be a panel. So, that will be the practice interviewing. And the fifth one will be get your interview clothes ready. So don't wait until the last minute to make sure your interview clothes are ready. Have an interview outfit ready to wear at all times. So you don't have to think about what you're going to wear while you are scrambling to get ready for a job interview, right? So if you're applying for a job in a more casual environment, such as a store or restaurant, it's still important to be neat, tidy, and well groomed, and to present a positive image to the employer. So that is the number five. Get your interview clothes ready. And the sixth will be decide what to do with your hair. So, how you style your hair for a job interview is almost as important as the interview clothes you wear. After all, the interviewer is going to notice everything about you, including your interview attire, your hairstyle, your makeup, and you only have seconds to make a great impression. So, that is the best way to prepare for an interview. And next, what to bring to a job interview. It is important to know what to bring and what not to bring to a job interview. Items to bring include a portfolio with extra copies of your resume, a list of references, a list of questions to ask the interviewer, and something to write on and read. So, it is also important to know what not to bring, including your cell phone, or at least turn your phone off. Off. A cup of coffee, gum, or anything else beyond yourself and your credentials, right? So the next one will be practice interview etiquette. Um, Proper interview etiquette is important, right? Because remember to greet the receptionist, your interviewer, and everyone else you meet politely, pleasantly, and enthusiastically. So during the interview, um, you need to watch your body language. Shake hands firmly. Make eye contact as you articulate your points. And also, attention. Be attentive. Look interested. This is something you can work on in your practice interviews. And also, um, there are specific etiquette tips depending on the type of interview you have. For example, a lunch or dinner interview, a panel interview, a phone interview, or a video interview. So, the next one will be get directions. So, if you are interviewing in person, it's important to know ahead of time where you need to go for your job interview. That way, you avoid running late to the interview. Use Google Maps or a similar app to get directions if you are not sure where you are going, right? Program your GPS if you have one so you can find the best route to the company. Check on parking if it's likely to be an issue. And also, if you have time, it's a good idea to do a practice run a day or two before the interview. That way, you'll be sure about where you are going and how it will take to get there. Give yourself a few extra minutes and arrive a little early for the interview. And also, you may also want to confirm the interview time and place, just to be sure you're heading in the right directions. So, that's the best way also in preparing for an interview. And second to the last, listen and ask questions. During a job interview, listening is just as important as answering questions. If you are not paying attention, you're not going to be able to give a good response, right? And it's important to listen to the interviewer. Pay attention and take time if you need it to compose an appropriate answer. And it's also important to discuss your qualifications in a way that will impress the interviewer. Also, be ready to engage the interviewer. You want there to give and take in the conversations, right? So, you are building a relationship with the interviewer rather than just providing rote responses to questions. So, the last one will be follow up with a thank you note. So, follow up a job interview with a thank you note or email, reiterating your interest in the job. So, this letter is also the perfect opportunity to discuss anything of importance that your interviewer neglected to ask or that you neglected to answer as thoroughly or as well as you would have liked. So that's all the best ways to prepare for an interview. So here we are in the job interview questions, answers, and tips to prepare. For example, um, do you have a job interview coming up? Are you prepared? The best way to get ready for an interview is to take the time to review the most common interview questions. You will most likely be asked along the examples of the best answers. Like the employers, they have a interview about the applicant. So I have an example here. Prepare for the interview. You don't need to memorize an answer, right? But do take the time to consider you respond. The more you prepare, the more confident you feel during a job interview. So when you are not sure that to expect during an interview, also take time to review this refresher on how job interviews work and these tips on how to prepare to ace your job interview. So, number one, questions about you. So, in questions about you, interviewers will ask questions about you to gain insight into your personality and to determine whether you are fit or for both the job and the company. So, these are open ended questions, which will give you the opportunity to show the employer that you are well qualified for the positions. Like, for example, the questions tell me about yourself. What is your greatest strength? What is your greatest weakness? What makes you unique? Tell me about something that's not on your resume. How will your greatest strength help you to perform? How do you handle failure? How do you handle success? Do you consider yourself successful and why? How do you handle stress and pressure? How would you describe yourself and describe a typical work week? Are you nice? Like that, viewer ask you that question. And many more questions about questioning about you. So the next one will be questions about leaving your job. Employers um, always ask about why you left or are leaving your job. Be prepared with an explanation for why you're moving on. Do make sure the reasons you give match what past employers will say about you if they are contracted for a reference. Like, for example, the questions why are you leaving your job? Why do you want to change jobs? Why were you fired? Why were you laid off? Why did you quit your job? That's our examples. Questions about leaving your job. The third one will be why you should be hired. So, what makes you the best candidate for the jobs like that? Here's when you have the opportunity to make a case for getting a job offer and the chance to sell yourself to the interviewer. Like, for example, why should we hire you? Why shouldn't we hire you? What can you contribute to this company like that? And the fourth one will be questions about salary. So, like for example, um, what were your starting and final levels of compensation? And also, what are your salary expectations? What are your salary requirements? Why would you take a job for less money? Like that. They questions you about that salary. So, the fifth one will be qualifications questions. So, the most important thing for interviewers to determine is whether you're qualified for that job. Here's what they will ask to find out when responding be specific. Like for example, what applicable experience do you have? Are you overqualified for this job? How did you impact the bottom line? Interview questions about your abilities. Sell me this pen like that, like in the call center that I experienced before. So that they ask you about um, your experiences and also about your skills. And tell me about your educational background. What can you do better for us than the other candidates for the job? What part for the job will be the least challenging for you? And what philosophy guides your work? What strength will you help you the most succeed? And why are you interested in taking a lower level job? So, the next will be questions about your work history. Like, for example, questions about your resume, what were your expectations for the job, and to what extent were they met, what were your responsibilities, what major challenges and problems did you face, how did you handle them, and what you have learned from your mistakes, like that. And also, what the biggest accomplishment or failure in this position, and describe the gap in your employment history. And the next one will be job and performance questions. It's all about what do people most often criticize about you? What is the biggest criticism you receive from your boss? And also, what is the worst thing that you have ever gotten away with? What makes you angry? What problems have you encountered at work? What strategies would you use to motivate your team? What would you be looking for in an applicant? When was the last time you were angry? Or what happened? And so on. Many more questions. And also, management and teamwork questions. So, like for example, who was your best boss and who was the worst? Describe your ideal boss. If you know your boss is 100% wrong about something, how would you handle it? And what do you expect from a supervisor? Have you ever had difficulty working with a manager? Like that. And also, the second to the last will be the new job and the company. So, take the time to research the employer prior to the interview so that you can ask informed questions about the job and company. Like, for example, how is your company better than your current employer? Like that. What interests you about this job? What do you know about this company? What do you know about this company for sales job? Like that. Why do you want this job? Why do you want to work here? And so on. And the last one will be questions about the future. So, are you going to stick around if you are hired is something most employers want to know? All these questions will give your interest in making commitment. Like for example, tell me about the trends in your profession and industry. What are you looking for in your next job? What is important to you? What is your professional development plan? Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Like that. How do you plan to achieve your goals? What will you do if you don't get this position? So now, how job interviews are scheduled. Generally, hiring managers will only contact you if they are serious about inviting you to a phone or in person interview. Sometimes interview invitations specify an exact time to connect. Most often, hiring managers will suggest a few potential times on or ask the candidate to share convenient times to interview. Like, if you are lucky, a company may acknowledge their original receipt of your job application, but very often, a company will only contact you if they are serious about inviting you to a phone or in a person interview. So, the next one. How interviews are schedules. The first one will be interview, invitation email with a date and time, interview invitation for a virtual interview invitation with a request to sign up online. So, how to respond to an invitation for an interview? The first one, confirm the details. So, confirm whether you can make the interview time mentioned in the email. If you can't attend an interview at the suggested time or date, simply state that the time doesn't work for you and offer some alternatives. So there is no need to go into detail about why you can't make the original time. And the second, respond professionally. In your note, aim to match the tone of the person who emailed you about the interview. As a general rule, it's preferable to be formal rather than casual, right? Using an appropriate business letter salutation and a conservative tone. Always proofread your email carefully before you hit send to avoid typos and grammatical errors. So remember to be polite and mention that you are looking forward to the opportunity to meet them and learn more about the organization. So, finally, the job interview is a vital component of the job application process. Documentary requirements, which are the written components of the job application, do not give a complete picture of the applicant. These test results are not totally reliable in providing all the information, and also employers arrange to interview job applications to determine whether or not the latter possess the qualities expected by the company or organization, because each job of interview is different from the other. It is important that the applicants prepare themselves well, right? In this lesson, you will learn about the preparing for the job interview as well as what to do and what not to do during a job interview. So later, my partner will discuss about what to do and what not to do during a job interview. So after all the requirements are collected and submitted to the employers, depending on the nature of the job, paper and pen test may be scheduled. And lastly, a job interview is arranged. So that's all for today. I hope you have learned something from my report, and thank you for listening. God bless us all. Bye.